Little nigga, you a bully, full-time goofy. You show me on the bus, give a suck shit, goofy. The way she tried to chew me, you thought she knew me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You've been in Chicago for a few days. How's your time in Chicago been so far?
Chicago's calm. Yeah. Chicago is, I like Chicago because it reminds me of New York City in the sense that you step here and like, you see what it's about artistically. Like you driving and you seeing murals, you feel me? Like, it gives you a sense of like, the type of culture you about to like step into. And I fuck with that, you feel me? It's familiar.
So, 2020 has been wild so far.
To say the least, yeah.
How has the pandemic affected you? I mean, you're in New York. That's damn near the middle of it. How has it affected you personally?
Personally, well, you take life and you try to be analytical in the sense where there's a positive and a negative to anything. And any and everything, honestly. I would say probably the thing that's coming top of my mind, how it affected me is, I'll tell you a story. Tell me how, I don't remember where I was, but I'm sitting down and I get a text from my manager. He's like, yo, don't ask me how, but like, we just landed a spot. We just landed an opportunity to be on this spot. It's Lupe Tour. Okay. You got a show this day. Kill it. We talking. 2 days before the show, I'm telling you, like, I was in the gym, like getting ready. You feel me? I was preparing mentally, like physically, all that shit. 2 days before, they shut down all New York City venues. First, they had they limited the capacity and shit, and then it got to the point where it was like, nah, this shit's serious. I mean, but realistically, you take that and you say, okay, where do we go from here? Now, it's a pandemic. We're gonna take things as they come, right? Because this is something that is still forming and like really, we don't know all there is to know about this pandemic yet. As we are right now, currently, things are being rescheduled. The positive comes when you're now talking and they call you back and they're like, okay, we just want to know if you're down to do more dates because now we have more time to schedule things. And now you're thinking, okay, so I guess I can see a silver lining. You feel me? Then you think about how the pandemic has really exposed some people, to be honest. Like, you get a sense of people's mentalities, what they really care about. Because honestly, this pandemic is something that you either think is a game or you think it's something to take seriously and try to prevent it from becoming more serious than it is. And I feel like ultimately this thing will only end when we all get to a side where it's like, okay, let's be smart. You feel me? But that's what I got to say about that.
So, you're from New York, specifically Brooklyn. What was it like growing up there?
Brooklyn is fire. Brooklyn is too far. It's beautiful because, and I'm biased OD, but it's a place where you feel lucky. It's a place where you tell people you're from Brooklyn and it's not like, oh, you from Brooklyn? You feel me? Or like, Brooklyn, what's that? You feel me? Like, the connotation that's with it is very positive, I feel. And it really allows me to be prideful of where I'm from a cultural standpoint, from a very technical standpoint. There's a lot of legends that came from Brooklyn. Now, we could talk just musically, but we could talk like on a very general note. It's very inspiring. There's places you grow up and you could just like not really be seeing much going around you, and that could really like force you to think a certain way, that there's a capacity on life. But I grew up in a region that always reminds me like you could do any and everything.
Can you speak on what your family life was like growing up? I know you had several siblings. Can you
OG
speak about that dynamic?
I like that you said dynamic, because that really is what it is. My family dynamic is incredible. I'm very proud of my family. So I'm Nigerian, and I grew up in a household of 6 kids. To keep it short and sweet, we were just always reminded that success takes hard work. We were reminded that to be a family means that we have to be close-knit. The love is very genuine. I could truly say those are my closest individuals in life. And I'm glad that I have the ability to say that, because I know that's not everyone's situation. But if I can just speak on mine, like, yeah, we're very blessed to have each other, and we're very supportive. I'm blessed that I have 2 older siblings that, like, they out of here. Like, one just graduated, I'll shout her out. Like, my sister just graduated from Harvard Business School. Like, she's doing it, you feel me? My brother's a pharmacist, the rest in college. Like, I mean, we were always reminded that it's important to try to achieve. And I think that above all, just the mentality of that alone is beneficial. Just the ability to take that and then manifest those goals, because you think that you can do it. You feel me? So yeah, that's something cool.
Yeah, that's important. So you were in your church's choir growing up. How do you think that helped you in your music career now?
I mean, I can sing now. Like, thank you, church. It was cool, because I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not gonna bullshit. When I was in the choir, I didn't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? You just came from school. You did your homework, and they called your house. They called your house and said, "Hey, my sister, they're not here. They're not at the church. Are they coming to practice?" And you like, damn. Again? Practice? And I mean, it was something that at a young age, because like I was in choir when I was, let's see, like 13 to, it was definitely like middle school shit. Yeah. And it was cool though. It teaches you discipline. Any organization, whether it's a sport, after school activity, anything, it could teach you discipline, organization. So it was good. It was beneficial in that regard. And like I said, I can sing now, so that's cool. That's calm. Make better music, all that.
And then, at what age did you start gravitating toward hip hop?
I'll tell you a funny story. When I grew up, like I said, I'm Nigerian. When we were riding in the car, you only listen to like Radio Disney, 1010 Wins, like, nah, we wasn't listening to hip hop much in my household. But then the iPod came out, Green Nano. My brother got gifted it, put some songs on it. Now it's not like everything that you listening to is being monitored or anything like that. Like, you listen to what the fuck you want. You feel me? You got your iPod Nano. So my older brother got it into like Kanye, and honestly, his palate was hella diverse, because he was listening to a lot of rock, like Green Day. He fucked with them heavy. But yeah, I remember taking this iPod one time and listening to Hey Mama by Kanye, and then I remember seeing him on 106 in Park, and I'm like, this shit fly, this shit cool. So and this was around the time where like you're in high school, you're meeting like the friends that are really like be instrumental to like your development. You feel me? This is the first time that you're really like maturing into like your fuller self, your fuller like, you know, you're like the person that you're gonna be, and you're having conversations that really formulate how you're thinking. You're now discussing like, okay, like what music do you listen to? What type of shit do you like? You feel me? And to be in certain conversations, you have to be like in tune to like what's going on, and just like pop culture, and a lot of that was hip hop music. So I started to get into like Kanye, Common, like really good music, and I don't know, it just took me to a different mental from there.
Kind of touched on it already,
Yeah.
talking about Kanye and Common, but who were some of those artists that influenced you musically?
I swear to you, I would walk through my high school halls knowing every single Big Sean lyric. That nigga go. OD.
And he made such inspirational music. Say what you will, he made inspirational music. You feel me? He was confident about himself. He made music that made you feel like, okay, shit, why can't I feel so like loving towards who I am? That nigga feel like, you feel me? Like, why not? We all bleed the same, and like that confidence is just inspirational. So yeah, I fuck with Sean heavy. I was listening to, like I said, we would have these conversations, right? So here's what these conversations were like about, like, yo, Kanye over Common? I don't know. And I'm just like, huh? Of course you gotta pick Kanye over Common. Like, that's what, I mean, you think about the Grammys, you think about like the catalog. Don't get me wrong, these people are in the conversations to start with because they're legends. Anybody, you feel me? But like, we all had our personal preferences, and I'm thinking like, okay, Kanye, Common, who else we listen to? We was fucking with Joey, Chance, I was fucking with Bino, who else? Lil Wayne heavy. Just people who like made me appreciate the English language, to be honest. The ability to like manipulate that shit and really formulate thoughts that made you think, damn, I didn't think about that shit. That's wow. You feel me? Because their lyricism was just different.
And then at what point did you start creating music yourself?
I would say when I got to high school, yeah. Just because like me and my homies, we just shoot the shits and like make music just to like, you know, have fun and shit. And I just took things more seriously just because, at least in my head, I took things very seriously because I already came from a background that was in poetry. My older brother was a poet, and like you felt that presence in my household. So I got into poetry. I remember like reading some of his poetry and taking some schemes to try to like then use that as templates to formulate my own shit. You feel me? And so I was already in tune with like the similes. So when niggas was like, let's rap about it, I was like, oh okay, oh okay. You feel me? I was ready. So yeah, and then we took that to like recording because I know my homie Sundown, who's like my right hand man. He makes like a good portion of like my production, super fire. He got a studio when he was like younger, and he would just invite us over, and we would just like fuck around. When I went to college, I was like, shout out my guys, the Moonlight. They had the studio that they allow me to use, and like I would record my music out their spot, and that's around this time that I first got in tune with like how to love the stage, you feel me, and like how to feel that. So I was performing heavy, and like everything just bottled from there.
Can you tell me a little bit about your college experience?
My college experience was it was interesting because it was it was different. It wasn't like the city, you feel me? It wasn't like Brooklyn. So that allowed me to like say, okay, I'm only here to do what I need to do. So it got to a point where if I wasn't taking 30-minute walks to walk to my homie spot so I could record, I was doing work. Well, I wasn't really fucking with nobody, really fucking with nothing, really. Like, I mean, of course I have my friends, you feel me? And I have my peoples, but it wasn't like I was going out of my way to like get to know everybody and get to be into everything. Nah. I was on a mission. I felt like I needed to always devote. If I had a goal, and I had this goal since like, you feel me? I always knew what I wanted to do. So it was very easy for me to be in college. Yes, like learn what I need to learn, but at the same time, like be making sure that I'm making music always. You feel me? So it was very heads down.
You touched on it a little bit, but can you just a little bit more talk about your relationship with Sundown? When did you guys first connect?
Like I said, that's my homie. Like that's my homie. We've been go way back. Him and there's a whole bunch of us. Real minds, we're a collective, and we formulated. That's that's the word of the day. Formulate. But we formed this collective, and ultimately, him, Tyler, Akil, Shafiq, Cadence, Muhammad, Nick, Ennis, whom up here? They gonna kill me, whatever. Yeah, and we all just got together and we were just like, you know, make sure that we all had each other's backs when it comes to like, okay, let me make sure that this person knows that I'm a friend. You feel me? And that helped us really get along when it came to music. So when I wanted to do rapping, he took music more seriously when he came to production, and we just grew together. And when you're with someone and your trajectory is not only simultaneous but at the same time similar, it's very easy for you to just be on the same wavelength. You feel me? So that's how we connect, and that's what we're like. You feel me?
Earlier this year, you dropped your project Black Ocean,
Yes,
season
sir.
1. Can you speak on the creation process of that tape?
Like I said, I was very heads down when I was in college, so that allowed me to like go through my experiences, but at the same time, go back to my room. When I ended up like getting my own setup, I would just go to my room and just like record. And it's very important to have your own home studio sometimes, because I recorded most of the demos there, and then from there, I was able to see how I could travel and then try to perfect the pieces of the project. So whether that was on a production standpoint, whether that was on an engineering standpoint, I would travel to different studios. We went to Miami, we went to LA, and we just tried to piece things together, and it came together really nicely. I'm so proud of it. That's my baby.
Can you talk about the concept behind the tape?
So when I was in school, I studied technology, commercialization, and entrepreneurship. That's what I got my master's in. And ultimately, I remember sitting in the class, and they were teaching us about this concept, similar. It's called Red Ocean, right? And Red Ocean, the Red Ocean strategy concept is centered behind the idea that when you have a market and you have multiple players in the market, it's very easy for you to fall in line with a given formula because it's working. Maybe it's cost effective, or it's just very operationally efficient. And you say, okay, let's do this. The company starts to make a lot of money. Other companies see that, okay, maybe we can adopt that same strategy. Let's do this. Okay, it's working. Now the market is not really innovating, but it's working. So it's like a red ocean strategy in the sense that there's not much innovation going on. So blue ocean strategies is essentially when you take that, you say there's a formula, but which part of this formula does the consumer really fuck with? You take that, drag it, you make an entirely new product so that you then try to use innovation as your backbone for reaching a higher level than all the companies that were now stuck in these red ocean strategies, because now they weren't really thinking about the next step. They were just trying to live in the present. How can I really use this strategy, this industry standard to really like make sure we're legit? You feel me? But if you really think about it, technology is all about innovation. You only beat out another company, or you only beat out another technology because you think on a different level. So that project, Black Ocean, is my way of crafting a series where I'm drawing out that concept in 3 different points. And the first one was intended to be centered on like what a in a sense what the red ocean strategy would be. Because like you think of Black Ocean and it's very digestible. It's not like some super long project. It's very you could sit and listen and you'd be like, okay, like I just had that experience. You feel me? And it touches on like a lot of points. It touches on a lot of like, it dips its hand in like multiple pots. That is to say, there's like bangers on it. There's records that make you want to just listen and see what the fuck is this nigga saying. And then there's records that just makes you think like, oh, okay, I could just like sit in my bedroom and just like listen to this shit all day. Like, tell me like you feel me? Like, it has a lot of elements. So that's what I feel is that part of what I'm building. I'm not going to draw it out too much just because like the music will speak for itself, but conceptually it was about those strategies I talked about.
What made you decide to have Zoe Dallas be the only feature on the tape?
Because honestly, I don't really have too many features just because it's important that, especially when you're just coming, when you're a fresh face, it's important that people know that you can stand alone. It's important that people know that what you bring to the table, you feel me? Zoe Dollar just fit perfectly on that record. I mean, that's a superstar talent. He brought that energy. And we just shot the video, we're finna release it. That shit goes stupid. Shout out Cooper. I just wanted to make sure that it was heavily concentrated on my talents, the project in general, but it did have an element that, like I said, I did my hand in multiple pots. I wanted to give people who really fuck with that type of music that avenue to sneak into the project. Now they're there and they want to like listen to more shit, and now we got more shit. So like, you feel me?
So you recently had that collab with Collective Group.
Oh yeah.
Made your own beer. How did that come about?
Sir.
How did that come about, and what was your role in creating like the actual flavor?
I'll tell you about it. So this beer company, they're called Collective Arts Brewing Company. They had the opportunity to partner with 4 artists who use the same distribution service, and ultimately, what they wanted to make a collaborative campaign where they show, okay, let's take some artists, put them in a studio, have them create a song, and let's use the inspiration from those songs to create like aesthetics that really speak to who these artists are trying to portray themselves as. You feel me? And this is a perfect match, I feel, because they've been on that wave of like fucking with artistic aesthetics and just trying to make sure that they are really sensitive to knowing that, hey, we care about like how we look, we care about the culture that's going on, whether that's in Ontario, because they're a Canadian company. They actually, I fuck with them heavy because they know what they're doing. They're now entering, they're not now entering, but like, I think I talked to one of the reps. They just entered the U.S. markets in like 2015, and they're already in like 13 states. And like, these cans are in every Whole Foods in New York City and Long Island. Not to mention 40 other stores. Like, they poppin'.
Can you speak on the clothing line that you created recently?
What? Hell yeah. This shit fly.
So, we got merch. And I'm definitely going to take it to a level where it could be a standalone. There are definitely certain artists that have perfected building a brand outside of the brand. So you think of like Tyler and Golf, you feel me? You think of so many artists. But what I'm trying to do is essentially use my artistic ability in more ways than one. And that is to say, we got quality content when you come into music. We got quality content when you come to the merch. And it's just very fly gear. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just shit that I fuck with, shit that I would wear. Because honestly, I think of people that make clothing, I'm like, okay, genius. Why the fuck am I wearing something that someone else made if I can make something that I made and I like it? You feel me? If I'm going to a store, I'm just hoping someone made something that I would like. You feel me? If I'm making shit, I know I'm gonna like it. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna try to make sure everything on me is like made by me, or like maybe I partner with a company to make like shoes. Maybe I partner with a company to make like jeans. You feel me? Just making sure like if I'm fresh, it's because I made sure.
Mm.
Wait. So we got hoodies, we got shirts, we got all that.
So, you know, we're in Chicago. We're a Chicago-based company. I always have to ask this. Are there any artists from Chicago that you want to work with in the future, whether that's artists or producers?
Hell yeah. Honestly, this city's all over the nation. Like, we finna go and just like link up with certain producers and try to create like masterpieces. Chicago, it will be a blessing to work with Chance. It would be a blessing to work with Saba. It'll be a blessing to work with Raven Lene. It'll be a blessing to work with None. It'd be a blessing to work with Lupe. It'd be a blessing to work with Kanye. There's many more. I know I'm blanking right now. But yeah, Chicago is definitely a spot where it's culturally rich, and you know you got just talent, abundancy. For sure. Yo, is Lido from here? Lido from here?
I don't know.
There's a producer from out here. What's his name? What's his name?
I think I know who you're gonna say.
Who?
Monte Booker.
Well, he's hell yeah. Monte Booker, yeah. I mean, he top of the list. I will. Monte, if you listening, look, it's about 5 with me. 5 with me. Monte cool. He hella cool. But he wasn't who I was thinking about. This guy was producing. I think he produced some of Chance shit, and then he started. I think he started like singing as well. I'll figure it out later.
What do you think?
Camel B. Alright.
You guys are just listen to people
Hey,
I
you
should
know
have
what's
been
crazy?
thinking about.
So,
But Cam Obi for sure.
So
Yeah,
Cam
yeah.
Obi's our old roommate.
Yeah.
Bro,
Oh,
The
yeah.
same
bro,
thing, bro.
Some of Asoh's earliest
Yes, yes.
songs were over Cam Obi
Listen
beats.
to Friday Night.
You played me one when I
Yeah,
you
bro.
saw me in Harlem, bro. Yeah.
I could float over some Cam Obi. Cam Obi hella fly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great roommate. My last question for you is,
Yeah.
where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years? What? Yeah, that's enough time. In 5 years, you gonna see me on movies. In 5 years, you gonna see me in definitely Billboard charts. Listen, I don't think we're gonna need 5 years to get a Grammy, but we'll see. We got big goals for sure. I'm really trying to be someone that really shows people there's no limit to who you can become. We gonna try to do a lot. I feel as though life is, when it's best, at its best, it guides you. So I'm not even gonna say too much, because there's gonna be things I say, and I'm gonna get it, and then I'm gonna get something I didn't even think I could get, and then be like, okay. So I was putting limits on myself. But in 5 years, it's just gonna be real nice. My mama gonna have a house that I bought her for sure.